mindset, I say that go
Alright,
in and take a look
another
at this
training
workout. So there's a
commentary
lot of people
update.
kind of
Haven't
taking this direction
really
and
done one
saying
of these in
it's
a
a
while,
great
so
reminder
we'll
that CrossFit's taking another power
we'll
step
do one
forward.
for the
And
first
really,
week just to
I'll
kind of
explain why. So
get
first,
thoughts
if you
out there,
remember
see
integrity, this is from
what
way back in
training looks
1991.
like the
This was
beginning
back
week
when
of
metal and
the
hardcore
first
still
block and
weren't
then
really friends. I mean,
kind of
obviously there was like
compare at
crossover
the end of
threads,
the
but that's a
block.
different thing. This is
So,
from way back in
goal for
1991,
this
and I would say
block
integrity was
is
probably
to
the
really
first
try to
band to
keep
kind of
fatigue a
combine
little bit
this type
lower
of hardcore
and
with
try to
a
stick
lot of
more to
elements of metal like
RPE
solos and stuff like
ranges
that. This was
than
way back
last
in
block.
91.
Last block I was really
In
pushing
1991.
those top end percentages and pushing it a little bit harder than I usually do just
Well, I
to
think Phil's right.
try
I
to
think
set
this needs to be
myself up
sort of
for
pre-kill switch
bigger
type bands.
PRs, but
After
it
thought
seems like
also has to be mentioned in this conversation.
from last block
Aftershock
to this
might
block,
be kind of the first band to
I've done a
really
better
nail the
job of
sound. They really weren't
keeping
around that long,
my
and no one
overall
really knew who they were
general
outside of sort of
fitness
Massachusetts. I
in
think
much
this
better
is from
shape
I think
than
'96, something
last
like
block.
that,
Last
maybe
block I was
'98. This
kind
might be
of
kind of the first
pushing it way
thing that
too
sounds like
hard,
metalcore is really
feeling more
represented.
fatigue and pain towards the end. So if I can keep that a little bit lower, I think it'll set me up for bigger PRs towards the end of this block. So probably gonna try to go another 4, maybe 5 weeks this block. We'll see. And this first week, I always try to make sure to nail at least the basics of trying to recover and keeping my fatigue lower. That way, I can really try to progress some of these sets as the weeks come by. So here we have the top set of 375 for a couple reps. So the weights that you saw before were all the warm-up sets leading up to this top set. So pretty good first rep there. Brace actually felt pretty decent this first week. Um, I didn't do too much the past week to kind of let some fatigue peter off and get rid of some overall soreness and pain that I've had quite some time kind of in my hips and my back. So here's another view of the 375 top set. So from this angle you kind of see depth a little bit better. I'm really trying to focus on also syncing those reps, that way um, I don't get called when I do decide to compete again. Overall pretty good. So next we've got some 3 count pause bench work. Um, bench hasn't been too bad in terms of trying to progress. It's really just trying to increase the amount of work that I do from week to week. That is my limiting factor, so definitely will try to push that a little bit more this upcoming block. So here's the first day of deads. Um, for the first day, I like to keep these a lot um, less taxing and less intensive because I try to go heavier at the end of the week. I feel that if I put them in the beginning of the week, especially after my squat session, I feel a little bit more fried towards the end of the week. So, trying to preserve some of that energy. So, here we have 420 for a set of 3. Not too bad. Really trying to focus on that wedge and keep the back and the hips tight throughout the pull. That looks pretty good right there. Alright, so for the heavier squat day of the week, this is, I believe, Thursday. So this is the last warm up before I take my top single. This was 405. Um, for squats, I've really been trying to just focus on pushing as hard as I can out of that sticking point right in the middle. I tend to have a really bad sticking point right through the middle. So I've tried pauses before in the past, just the regular bar and the SSB, but haven't really yielded too much value. So um, this time around, I'm just trying to really focus on flat feet and trying to just push as hard as I can through that sticking point, just so that I can kind of develop the technique to kind of get myself quicker out of that point. The rest of the squat actually looks pretty good. So it's the top single of 451. So take in my breath, brace as hard as I can, try to stack everything before I descend. Pretty good. I had a little bit of a catch there at the end on the hook. So here's another view of the 451, second camera angle. So speed looks pretty good, depth looks good. Again, I just kind of have a little bit of a hard time coming out of the hole and then regaining positional power to get through the end there. So here is the deadlift top triple of 510, slightly paused off the floor. So with pause deads, I've actually had quite a bit of progress with making these move well. So, and they've transferred quite a bit to my regular deads. So we'll keep those in the program. Um, Try to see if we can progress those, and then once fatigue kind of drops, really make sure that those transfer. Here is the final day of training. A little bit of bench rep work with a little bit of an extended pause. So this was the only thing I had to do for the day. Really trying to see if I can get my money's worth out of these bench only sessions and really push the progression with the weights instead of just trying to build up some volumes. 275 for a double, moved pretty well. And then here is 295 for a double as well. So for the bench, um, really just trying to focus on driving through the feet and keeping my butt down. Everything else looks pretty solid.